Like myself, you know, I was like, why haven't you called the police or anything, you know? Why haven't you called them? She just kept saying, mumbling, devil and money, devil and money.
A murder victim's fiance telling KOCO5 about a gruesome murder. And right now, this woman, the main suspect, Juanita Gomez, the victim's own mother, accused of killing her with a crucifix.
It happened near 15th and Classen. KOCO's Jonathan Cooper live with the disturbing details. Jonathan.
Paul and Jess, according to these court documents, that woman thought her daughter was possessed by the devil. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the details in these documents are disturbing. According to court documents, Gomez, who lives at this home near Northwest 15th and Classen, admitted to attacking her 33-year-old daughter, Geneva, over the weekend because she was, quote, possessed by the devil. According to documents, Gomez says she forced a crucifix down her daughter's throat and saw her daughter die. Documents say Gomez admitted to placing the body in the shape of a cross.
As a mom, I just can't bear it. I mean, I can't understand how this happened.
Neighbors are in shock tonight.
It's sad. I couldn't even describe the feeling.
Geneva's fiance Frankie tells KOCO he discovered the body on Saturday afternoon.
She was just laying there, you know, with her arms out. Her face was like, can you recognize it?
Gomez is now in the Oklahoma County Jail on first-degree murder charges. Now, Frankie says friends are in the process of planning a candlelight vigil. Reporting live tonight near Northwest 15th and Classen, Jonathan Cooper, KOCO 5 News.
Say a man killed his mother because he thought she was possessed by the devil. Roderick Geronimo pleaded not guilty to beating his 80-year-old mother to death at her home in Poultney. News Channel 5's Charlie Gora has details.
He did not say it was an accident, no. He said he caused his mother's death.
49-year-old Roderick Geronimo pled not guilty to murdering his adoptive mother, but the police affidavit offers a different story. The court papers say Geronimo admitted various times to thinking Gertrudis Altward was possessed by the devil, so he beat her over the head with antique bottles to cast out the evil. After she was lying in her kitchen, Geronimo told police he went to neighbors for help and told them his ailing mother had fallen.
She was transported along with the son. He rode in the ambulance with her. We had a detective sergeant go to the hospital and interview him at the hospital, and during that interview he admitted to killing his mother.
I spoke with the family's neighbors, who all spoke fondly of the woman they called Gigi.
Gigi, yes. Yeah, Gigi and her husband Ted, really nice people.
And when Ted passed 5 years ago, Roderick moved home to take care of his mother while she battled cancer.
We all know it's difficult taking care of somebody that you love, and so, you know, I think we all felt that he was doing a really good job under the circumstances.
Linda Knowlton says when she saw the ambulance outside the house, she thought it was for Gigi's health.
It was difficult to see the crime unit here because obviously you would know that something wasn't right.
An unfortunately wrong start to the Independence Day holiday. In East Poultney, Charlie Gora, News Channel 5.
Is lucky to be alive this afternoon after her son attacked her inside their Columbus home. She told police that she woke up to the smell of bleach and found her son in the house with his girlfriend. She says her son was trying to choke her to death because she claims he said Satan told him to do it. The woman was able to get away. She ran to a neighbor's home and called 911. This is what she told dispatchers.
Satan told him, if I don't sacrifice you, I'll have to take my life tonight. That's what he said. And as he was choking me out, the girlfriend was behind him going, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop.
By the time police arrived, the woman's son and his girlfriend were gone. But inside, police found the body of another woman. Authorities have not identified that body yet.
Years. Chandler police say he took a lighter to his son's own hands. We told you about this yesterday. Now tonight his mom is claiming illegal substance is to blame. ABC 15's Tim Vetcher shows us the warning she has for other parents about the drug you can buy legally right here in the Valley. This story is all new tonight.
We just suspect it was bath salt.
Connie Salazar had hoped to spend the 4th of July with her son. Instead, Johnny Salazar sits in jail this holiday, accused in a bizarre case of child abuse.
He's a good kid, never been charged with anything, never been in trouble.
Chandler police say Johnny Salazar used a cigarette lighter to burn his 5-year-old son's hands and wrists for touching his Bible. Investigators claim Johnny thought his son may be possessed.
He thought that my grandson, by touching it, was causing power to come out of it.
Connie tells me her son had taken bath salts. You can buy them at several different smoke shops throughout the valley. Even though the package states, quote, not for human consumption, people snort and inject bath salts to get high.
He kept saying he was seeing demons. The demons were trying to get him and that we were trying to poison him. It's the drug. It's the drug.
After seeing the burns to her son, Connie says the boy's mother called Chandler police, who arrested Johnny on 1 count of child abuse. At the time of his arrest, investigators claim Johnny was talking gibberish.
It's the drug. It's the drug. Because my son has never been like that.
Connie wants other parents to know about the dangers of bath salts and how easily kids and adults can get their hands on the drug here in the valley.
My son was a good son. He's a good son, and this drug has destroyed a lot of children, and people need to do something about it.
Thankfully, Connie says her grandson's burns are not serious, and he's going to be just fine. In Chandler, I'm Tim Vetcher, ABC 15 News.
From your Cape Coral News team, a woman tears through a church parking lot and blames demons for her reckless ride.
Her child was in the back seat. Police arrested Dana Foster after finding drugs in the car. NBC2's Delia D'Ambra is live at Cape Christian Fellowship with reaction from people at the school and the church.
Officers found Foster driving erratically in the parking lot of Cape Christian Fellowship. She told them that she was demon-possessed and was just sitting, waiting, and watching for a pastor for help.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, if you think you're possessed by demons, the place to go for an exorcism would be to a priest.
Dana Foster came here to a Christian school in Family Park. She says it was to exorcise whatever was in her system. Someone reported Foster driving erratically through the parking lot at 8:30 at night.
That's scary because people are still sometimes here at that time.
Foster had her daughter in the back seat.
I would be pretty enraged if my kid or some other person's kid or her own kid were injured in that situation.
I'm kind of just glad that she was in the parking lot at 8:30 at night when it wasn't like a full day of business, like, Sunday morning when everyone's at church.
Foster's breathalyzer test showed no alcohol in her system. Her claims of demon possession turned investigators to look for drugs.
Something drives that. Mental illness, drugs, mental illness combined with drugs.
Officers found 2 Xanax pills and some weed in her car. They charged Foster with DUI.
What if somebody was here with children, and it's hard to say, oh, it's a tragic accident when there's something like that involved.
Foster's daughter is now with her father. Mom, though, is still in jail. She's also facing charges for drug possession. I'm live in Cape Coral. Delia D'Ambra, NBC2.
It's the wild chase we couldn't make up if we tried. And tonight, even more twists behind this scene. The woman caught driving naked in a stolen deputy's truck, now telling a new story. ABC 15's Mary Ellen Resendez spoke with her behind bars. She joins us live at the Estrella jail. And Mary Ellen, why did she agree to tell her story?
Well, 31-year-old Lisa Luna says she wants the truth to be told. And that truth is not that she was raped like she first told deputies or that she was high on drugs like she said over the weekend. Instead, she says she was poisoned by a family member.
And she'd been giving me stuff that had been making me feel really weird. I don't know what it was. A lot of weird things had been happening. I was seeing things, I didn't know what it was she was giving me.
Lisa Luna didn't say much before a Maricopa County judge, but when she spoke to reporters, she said her cousin had been putting poison in her food, and whatever it was had her tripping like never before. She recalls her skin burning the morning she stripped on the side of a Gila Bend road. But things get blurry when it comes to talking about the deputy that tried to help her and how she allegedly stole an MCSO pickup truck.
Put me on another trip, and I felt like I was, I want to say possessed. I didn't have control. I didn't remember the whole ride until I had sobered up again. If anybody was hurt, you know what, I apologize. I had no control over what was going on. I was under, I don't know what it was.
Now, Luna did specifically apologize to that MCSO deputy, saying that he is a good man. He tried to help her, even cover her. Now, as far as those claims of being poisoned, it was the first time that MCSO detectives have even heard them. They say they will be looking into them. We're live in Phoenix. Mary Ellen Resendez, ABC 15 News.
Yeah, sounds like she's told a number of stories here. Thanks so much, Mary Ellen.
People in Brockton coming together tonight to remember two brothers found murdered in their home. Even more heartbreaking, investigators say it was their own mother who killed them. As Louisa Moeller shows us, friends and neighbors recalled those boys as fun and loving.
This makeshift memorial behind me of candles and balloons is what's left of a large community effort to remember Edson and Layson Brito and to pray for their mother. The voices of a shaken community rose from a Brockton street corner. Family, friends, and complete strangers tearfully lit candles to remember two little boys. 8-year-old Edson Brito and 5-year-old Layson Brito, found stabbed to death Monday in this Prospect Street home.
With so much grief, so much pain.
Their father remarking on the moments he'll miss.
And I'm no longer going to be able to stay on this step right here.
It's okay. Come on. You got this.
I'm never going to be able to wait for my son to get out of his school bus.
The family also wrestling with feelings about the boy's mother, Latasha Sanders, now held without bail for their murders. Police say she told them it was part of a ritual.
I lost my brother, my mother, I don't know.
And that picture was not my daughter. I do know that she loved them boys with all her heart.
But the vigil had a prayerful tone. Thoughts of peace for the Brito boys and for Sanders.
But I'm just putting it all in the Father, the man upstairs, to give me strength.
Right, he will.
And he will. Thank you.
Donations for the boys' funerals and scholarships in their name can be made to the Cape Verdean Association of Brockton. In Brockton, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
4 daughters and then living with their bodies for months inside their Southeast Washington home. D.C. Bureau Chief Sam Ford watched part of Benita Jack's taped interrogation, and he's checking in now with the story. Sam, now she told police that she thought her girls were possessed by demons.
Well, in fact, Leon, she did that. The case is still at the pretrial stage, but spectators are packing in every day as the judge continues to watch the interview that police did with Benita Jax 18 months ago, just after she was arrested. Detective, 4 dead kids, only one person there is the mother. What are you going to think? Jax, it wasn't me. Detective, if you didn't murder them, who murdered them? That was one of the exchanges Judge Frederick Weisberg saw today as he, along with lawyers and spectators, watched videotape of detectives interrogating 35-year-old Benita Jax hours after authorities discovered the children's mummified bodies. Jax told lawmen her children were all demon-possessed, especially 17-year-old Brittany, whom she called Jezebel, saying the girl tried to choke her and push her down the stairs. Brittany's body was found in a sealed room with a knife and blood on the floor. Spectators described the tape as disturbing.
No one came to the children's rescue.
She got everything in place on what she want to say and what she want to do.
So you don't think she's crazy?
No, I don't.
MPD Detective Daryl Richmond was one of the interrogators on the tape. Jax told him and his partner that day that her younger daughters, Tatiana, age 11, Nakaya, 6, Asia, 5, were also demon-possessed. They were found laid side by side in a room. She said they died from lack of food. Detectives expressed exasperation. Detective, you've been in that house with 4 dead bodies for months. I can't understand how you can stay in there all that time. Jax, I'm not saying it was easy. None of this has been easy.
Whatever happened in her life, she took it out on those kids, and that's very unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel sorry for her?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Absent from these sessions, Benita Jax herself, who apparently doesn't want to relive it all and is spending the time in a holding cell. At this point, detectives said at one point they thought that she was making all of this stuff up. The judge is listening to this stuff so that he can determine whether it should be allowed in the eventual trial, which will likely get underway with opening arguments tomorrow. Reporting live from D.C. Superior Court, Sam Ford, ABC.
Again, creepy mask sightings, and this time it is no joke.
All new at 10, we're hearing from the Valley kids who say they were threatened with an axe. ABC 15's Kim Tobin is near 67th Avenue in Glendale, and Kim, police found evidence here.
As you can imagine, these kids were absolutely terrified. After police interviewed them, they scoured the area. They actually found the mask and an axe abandoned nearby in this field right here. An everyday walk home from school turns into a scene out of a horror movie for these Glendale kids.
Like I was gonna die today.
It's a little scary. It is real scary.
Families and neighbors still shaking after a terrifying encounter.
Turned around and all of a sudden I see a clown go by and then he just starts running at me.
Glendale PD says that man was armed with an axe and chased after the boys.
He's all like, yep, you guys better run because we going after you. I'm like, go, everybody.
Police tweeted out these photos showing what looks more like a mask out of the movie V for Vendetta and the full-size axe with its handle cut short left behind in that nearby field.
And my son was crying, in tears, like almost out of breath.
The kids made it to safety, hiding in one of the apartments and calling police. But the guy who may be really trying to hurt someone or just playing a sick joke is still out there.
See the videos and these guys playing pranks and all that type of stuff, and sooner or later they'll just go too far.
This isn't a game. This is our children, and our children should be safe.
Police absolutely want to catch this guy before he can terrorize any more children. If you know anything about this, make sure to call Glendale PD. Reporting at 67th Avenue in Glendale, Kim Tobin, ABC 15, Arizona.
Our top story, and one that's tough to even wrap your head around here. A father admits to killing his own teenage son. The weapon, an axe. Dad's excuse? He tells police his boy was a demon. ABC 15's Nohel Ani Graf is following the story. Nohel, this father confessed to everything.
Yeah, he didn't at first, though, Steve. Actually, police say that David Sherrill lied to them when they first showed up at his door, saying that his son, David, wasn't even home. When they did finally find the boy, Sherrill claimed self-defense. He apparently thought his son was going to eat him. It is horrible. It is bizarre. And yet his neighbors say they've known something was off.
At night, the police tape now gone.
Just shocked. It's a quiet little neighborhood.
Most would never give Gary Sherrill's house a second glance, and yet some neighbors did.
He had been screaming at a tree the other day.
He came out of the bushes and he shouted at me, "Excuse me, ma'am."
Several say they'd had strange encounters with the 51-year-old in just the last week. Stories of him rambling about numbers, holding an empty whiskey bottle.
People don't creep me out, and that guy creeped me out.
One neighbor, who wants to hide her face, had seen family drama unfold before.
The parents were arguing. The mom was on the street. The father was up by the apartment, and the child was in the middle.
Police do say Sherrill shared custody with his ex-wife of their 13-year-old son, David. When Sherrill didn't bring the boy back to his mom's on New Year's Eve, she called the cops to check it out. Davina West could hear the conversation.
Said that he was an ex-Boy Scout leader, and he would never hurt any child.
Police kept the questions going until they say Sherrill let them in. That's when they spotted the boy, already dead, sliced with an axe. Detectives say the father confessed, saying he feared his son. He believed the boy was a demon. Neighbors can only guess how troubled Sherrill really was.
He was either on drugs or had flipped out.
Neighbors also tell us Sherrill's windows were all blacked out with tinfoil. When they did see his son, they say the boy was never playing, just quiet. One woman says she actually called CPS once, but CPS told her if she didn't witness a crime, there was nothing they could do. Making this story even more heartbreaking, it comes just a week after this Casa Grande case. A mom, 35-year-old Connie Villa, confessing to suffocating her 13-year-old on Christmas Day and trying unsuccessfully to poison her 3 other children, all so that her ex-husband wouldn't get custody. Steve?
On top of that, the tragic scene unfolding tonight in Tolleson, what is being called a murder-suicide near 93rd Avenue and West Jefferson. The entire neighborhood shaken up, gathering at the home in tears and disbelief. Some of them heard the screams. Police say 45-year-old Alejandro Gallardo shot and killed his 6- and 8-year-old daughters and then turned the gun on himself. We're told a family member found the bodies, and it could be a while before they can comment on a possible motive.
People in Brockton coming together tonight to remember 2 brothers found murdered in their home. Even more heartbreaking, investigators say it was their own mother who killed them. As Louisa Moeller shows us, friends and neighbors recalled those boys as fun and loving.
This makeshift memorial behind me of candles and balloons is what's left of a large community effort to remember Edson and Layson Brito and to pray for their mother. The voices of a shaken community rose from a Brockton street corner. Family, friends, and complete strangers tearfully lit candles to remember two little boys. 8-year-old Edson Brito and 5-year-old Layson Brito, found stabbed to death Monday in this Prospect Street home.
There's so much grief, so much pain.
Their father remarking on the moments he'll miss.
And I'm no longer going to be able to stay on this step right here.
It's okay. Come on. You got this.
I'm never going to be able to wait for my son to get out of his school bus.
The family also wrestling with feelings about the boy's mother, Latarsha Sanders, now held without bail for their murders. Police say she told them it was part of a ritual.
I lost my brother, my mother. I don't know. I don't know. And that picture was not my daughter. I do know that she loved them boys with all her heart.
But the vigil had a prayerful tone. Thoughts of peace for the Brito boys and for Sanders.
But I'm just putting it all in the Father, the man upstairs, to give me strength.
Right, he will.
And he will. Thank you.
Donations for the boys' funerals and scholarships in their name can be made to the Cape Verdean Association of Brockton. In Brockton, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Troubling new images are making the rounds on social media, showing what appears to be a group of high teenagers rolling on top of the graves of babies. NBC2 anchor Trent Kelly is live outside the Coral Ridge Cemetery near Pine Island Road and shows us these images are shocking and outraging parents.
Well, for one mother, the land right behind me is special. It's one of the last places she can come to remember her daughter, who died 25 years ago after she was born. So you can only imagine the shock when she woke up yesterday, only to find those photos, which were taken just feet away from her daughter's grave.
I come out at least once a month.
For Don Thomas, this land is nothing short of sacred. A place of quiet reflection.
When I'm here, I normally clean up the area around my daughter.
Buried 25 years ago, her grave lies within a section of the Coral Ridge Cemetery known as Babyland.
It's a place that you expect people to have respect.
Something the teens in a series of online photos seem to be lacking.
You could see in the photos they were right on top of them.
The images posted to Snapchat show the teens literally rolling around on top of the graves.
I could see my daughter's flowers in the background, so she was very close to my daughter's grave.
Even more troubling is a caption implying the girl was high on Xanax.
It's not funny at all.
Stacy Pignotti's 4-month-old is also buried nearby.
More hurt than I am.
She doesn't understand why they would turn a baby burial ground into a playground.
I don't walk on them because you're walking on somebody's child. I just think they thought it would be fun. I really don't know. Thank you for helping me.
They're hoping someone will now help them identify these teens.
I'm sorry you went through this.
Teaching them a lesson about respecting those who are gone but not forgotten.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if they're caught, police tell me those teens could face trespassing charges. Live in Cape Coral, Trent Kelly, NBC2.
There's certainly a disturbing sight, like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah, eerie-looking dolls right here, discovered at a busy park in Sterling Heights. Tonight, the big question is, why?
7 Action News reporter Simon Shakehead joins us live now with the search for answers only here on 7. Simon?
Carol and Stephen, talk about a strange and bizarre discovery in an area where a lot of kids play, and now police are taking a much closer look.
What in the actual man?
Posted to Facebook and viewed numerous times, pictures and cell phone video of a Halloween-like display of baby dolls with eyes X'd out and some of their bodies cut off.
Hanging, dangling, their mouths tied,
hanging from their heads. It's creepy.
On Sunday, it got the attention of Megan Vinci, who lives near the portion of Dodge Park near Clinton River Road and Shaner. Considering small children often play out here, she says it's certainly no laughing matter to parents.
Man-made little structure, and there was dead dolls all on it with their eyes X'd out. This was a joke. It's not funny. It's still showing death.
Tonight, we found someone had taken down those dolls, and police tell us it's unknown if this was a prank or possibly something more devious. Either way, Megan has this message for whoever decided to get this creepy teepee all dolled up.
It's sick. Don't do it. It's not something that kids need to see.
Now, police tell us they are taking this very seriously. They want to know who's behind this and why. Stephen, back to you.
Any idea if they found anything else, or is this the only creepy thing going on over there?
We checked into that with police. So far, they don't have any reports of anything like this, but after this instance, you can believe people are looking out very closely.
All right, Simon Chiquette reporting live tonight. Thank you. Movies causing real-life horror for teens in Metro Detroit, matter of fact, all the way across the country.
Yeah, these teens trying to virtually carry out the purge, and they're posting everything from devastating rumors to pornographic pictures of their peers. In some cases, police consider the pics to be child porn.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Russell has the story all parents need to talk to their kids about.
In the movie The Purge, there are 12 hours of lawlessness where anything goes. And some people are trying to recreate that online on sites like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and the consequences are serious.
All crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours.
After seeing the movie The Purge over the weekend, Emma Washko went on Twitter. But instead of finding tweets about the movie, she came across tweets about her and other teens from Downriver sent out by the account Downriver Purge. What are they doing to people on these pages?
They're pretty much just tearing them apart.
She then learned about an online purge where people are using sites to break social media rules. In some cases, the accounts tweet out nude pictures, often of high school kids. In Emma's case, they tweeted out humiliating rumors. At first it hurt, then she made a decision.
None of it's true, so I just don't let it bother me.
Twitter took Downriver Purge down, but sites like it across Metro Detroit and the country keep popping up.
This is a national epidemic.
Detective Charles Youngkin from the Warren Police Department has seen this before. Just recently, a Warren police investigation led to felony charges against teen boys who allegedly set up similar sites on Instagram, sending out humiliating messages and pictures. He says the defendants are lucky the posts didn't lead to tragedy. How worried are you that one of your friends is going to hurt themselves because of these lies?
That crosses my mind every day. I'm just praying that this doesn't get too far.
We need to come together and bring awareness to this so parents understand this, so we can keep an eye on this, because we don't want children taking their lives because of the bullying that's going on.
Someone needs to do something about it and, find out who's creating these pages and shut them down and get them in trouble, because it's harassment.
While there is lawlessness in the movie The Purge, there is not lawlessness in the real world. We are hearing reports of investigations around the country connected to posts posted during this online purge. Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
Tonight, tearful testimony and new details during day one of Michael McCarthy's trial. Bella Bond's story, of course, gripped the nation. The little girl found dead on a Boston beach, only known as Baby Doe for months. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Paula Eben in for Lisa Hughes. Today, the trial began for the man accused of murdering Bella. WBZ's Christina Hager is live in Boston tonight. Christina?
Well, Paula, it was September of 2015 when we finally learned Baby Doe's name, Bella Bond. And now the trial that pits baby Bella's mother against the man she says murdered her daughter.
Now,
Bonnie Flynn wipes her eyes, describing her grim discovery on Deer Island nearly 2 years ago when she turned to a stranger for help.
I asked if he can call 911 because I just found a dead baby on the beach.
That touched off an intense campaign by police to identify Baby Doe. Meanwhile, in Dorchester, a neighbor who had not seen the toddler across the way in months saw the reports, but never put it together.
Because here she has too much long hair.
Those first witnesses came after opening arguments, the prosecutor leading with the story of his star witness, baby Bella Bond's mother, Rochelle Bond. She's prepared to testify against her ex-boyfriend, Michael McCarthy, saying he punched the 2-year-old Bella in the stomach and later dumped her body in the South Boston harbor.
and said to her, if you tell anyone what happened, I will kill you. And he told her then, when she asked him, what did you do? He said, she just died. It was her time. She was a demon.
McCarthy's defense attorney says the child's mother made the story up to cover for herself, recalling a chilling conversation in which she allegedly told a friend
that now the demons were trying to get into Bella.
Baby Bella's godmother outside court.
I hope the truth will come out. I hope the truth will come out, but I feel like there's a lot of lies going on.
Prosecutors say they may possibly call Baby Bella's mother to the witness stand before the week's end. Rochelle Bond was charged with accessory after murder and with continuing to collect welfare checks in her name even after the baby's death, but she was never charged with murder. At the Suffolk Superior Courthouse in Boston, Christina Hager, WBZ News.
Tonight, breaking news, an unbelievable twist as the pregnant mom accused of trying to kill her 3 kids and herself by driving her minivan right into the ocean is behind bars tonight on a whopping $1.2 million bond. And tonight we discover this woman has killed before, and with a vehicle. That's right, 7 years ago, 32-year-old Ebony Wilkerson drove her car into another car, sending it spinning into a concrete barrier and badly injuring a woman who later died from her wounds. But back then, Ebony wasn't even arrested. She only got community service. And take a look at her now. There doesn't seem to be a trace of remorse or agony in this woman's face, even though she allegedly tried to kill her 3 precious children, ages 3, 9, and 10, by driving them into the ocean, even though they screamed and yelled and hollered and begged for their lives. Just take a look at this woman. She looks, I don't know, like she's at an art gallery looking at paintings. Either that or completely catatonic. But one thing I can tell you, there's not a tear in sight, even when the judge reads her the charges.
You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God. Ebony Wilkerson, you charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder, for which you have no bond. You're also charged with 3 counts of child abuse causing great bodily harm.
Ebony's sister said right before the incident, Ebony was ranting about demons in her house and talking to Jesus. Is she completely crazy or just completely callous? We're going to go to a reporter on site who has some new information. But first, I want to analyze Wendy Walsh. Analyze this woman's expression from a psychoanalytical standpoint.
You know, Jane, what you would call not a tear shed, I would call lack of affect. And what we mean by that is somebody whose emotions are not connecting sort of to their physical expression. This is definitely, or could be, a sign of mental illness. This to me looks like a terrified woman who's not all together. Now, whether they've medicated her, I'm not sure, but her stilted walk, the eyes dashing back and forth. Look very closely. This is a woman who's mentally not quite present.
Judy Ho, your take as a forensic and clinical psychologist.
Well, Jane, to follow up a little bit on what Wendy said, yes, her affect is completely disconnected, and maybe this is exactly how she was able to complete that action of driving her car into the ocean with her kids screaming and asking for help. And the problem is there were so many opportunities in this case where we missed her. We could have taken her in. This would have never happened because her sister had called on the Monday before all this happened, took her to a mental hospital. They released her on Tuesday. She signed herself out, actually, because they didn't find a reason to keep her. As you mentioned earlier in the segment, the police evaluated her for about half an hour, said they didn't find any signs, and let her go again. But the problem is, I don't think that we are all very educated, all of us who are in this field or even just outside of it, like the police force coming into contact with these people, about what signs we really should look for when somebody's that disturbed.
When you're mentally ill, you don't wear a sign tattooed on your forehead that says, I am crazy. You got to figure it out. So in front of her sister, she's talking to Jesus and saying there's demons in the house, but then when the police arrive, she acts very loose.
As we reported first at noon, an arrest has been made in a triple murder case in Pensacola. Wayne Hartog was taken into custody at his home this morning, 3 months after his mother and 2 half-brothers were found brutally murdered inside their Pensacola home. News 5's Debbie Williams is live in Pensacola with all the details. Debbie?
Mel, authorities say Wayne Hartung killed his family. Now he sits in the Escambia County Jail charged with 3 counts of premeditated first-degree murder.
Hours after Wayne Hartung's arrest, evidence technicians still comb through his house, searching for more clues and answers in the brutal murders of his mother, Bonnie Smith, and his half-brothers, John and R.T.
This is the son of the woman and the half-brother of the 2 men, and we're convinced and satisfied that the correct charge is premeditated murder.
3 months ago, the bodies were discovered in separate rooms in their Deerfield Drive home. Investigators initially believed they were victims of a ritualistic killing linked to witchcraft.
The fact that Mr. Hartung, was engaged in that, and the reason why I say that is there were some statements that he had made, and there was some evidence found at his home that clearly indicated that tie-in.
News 5 has learned Hartung had a book on witchcraft in his house, and in one of those initial interviews with authorities, he admitted to practicing the Wiccan religion. Other possible motives include a connection with RT's employer, the Department of Homeland Security, or simply for money.
Today was the day that we finally completed everything and obtained a warrant for his arrest.
Neighbors that we talked to didn't want to go on camera, but say that they're glad that Hartung is no longer one of their neighbors. They also say they knew something was up earlier today because there were a lot of cars in this neighborhood that didn't belong. Hartung was arrested at his home without incident around 11 o'clock. Late this afternoon, the last of the investigators packed up and drove away from Hartung's house. Now the next phase of the case will begin.
I'm glad that we were able to work through this extremely complicated, detailed crime scene and crime and reach this point.
Now, the next phase will be a bond hearing. Prosecutors hope that the judge will hold Hartung without bond. They also plan to pursue the death penalty in this case. Now, I spoke with family members earlier today. They say that they are relieved that an arrest has finally been made, and they look forward to the prosecution. Live in Pensacola, Debbie Williams, News 5.
It was a scene with no shortage of symbols beneath the softly waving red, white, and blue signs and statues, all part of a uniquely American debate involving veterans, the Constitution, God, and the devil.
My thoughts are that if you're going to be calling Satan in to be on your side, you're not going to don't expect blessings and goodness. He's always been
what part of the Constitution is that from?
It's not in any part of the Constitution, but neither is freedom of speech either.
But it was freedom of speech that in many ways started this all.
This is what we support. This is what this community supports.
Back in January, the removal of a Christian memorial by the city of Belle Plaine sparking outrage. The city citing complaints it violated constitutional obligations to separate church and state. Then in February came a big change. The Belle Plaine City Council voting to establish a so-called free speech zone where any religion or group can take part.
And it doesn't matter, if you're Jewish, like we said, if you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're American, whatever you are, we're all Americans fighting this war together.
But promises of inclusion were quickly put to the test. The Satanic Temple in Salem, Massachusetts, announcing a plan to install a monument of their own. The black cube with a helmet on top intended to honor veterans who may not be Christian.
I take it you don't believe in God.
Roger. Yeah.
You serve your country.
Yes, sir.
And you want a place down here.
Yes, sir.
Army Reserve Lieutenant Kevin Lindo says he supports any memorial regardless of religion or background. But others at Saturday's gathering believe constitutional protection comes with exceptions.
There is a freedom of speech, but the freedom comes at a price as well. They are free to believe whatever they want to, but they need to do it on their own grounds, not on public ground.
Of the crowd of roughly 200 protesting the Satanic Memorial, some were from out of both city or state. A person's belief sometimes spelled out on a sign, but the facts of the situation often proving elusive.
If they're not allowed to have a Christian monument, they shouldn't be allowed to have any other monument here. That's
they are allowed to, though.
They are allowed to. I guess standing up for what I believe in personally, then, is why I would be here.
And for counter-protesters in support of the Satanic Memorial, belief was just as important. not just in a religion, but in their constitutional right to take part.
All or none. All or none.
Now looking at the star, and this again is another worrying thing for many, because I don't know whether you're one who would approve witchcraft as a listener, as somebody who's watching. But then again, according to the headline, how politicians are enriching witch doctors.
Apparently, politicians are now riding crocodile, wearing pythons, stripping naked, and having symbols cut into their tongues. That is a story that continues on page 4 and 5 of the paper. I mean, is it that serious?
Well, according to them, it looks like it's that serious and a lot is at stake. But interesting thing here is that our politicians are riding crocodiles.
And
but remember, we had
marrying.
another one who was marrying a crocodile, and it was a mare. So I don't know, maybe riding a crocodile or... But how do you even ride a crocodile? Isn't that dangerous? Would that beast turn on
So
you?
it's an interesting...
Alejandra, ¿dónde está tu hermana? Alejandra, óyeme. ¿Qué le pasa? Lo que le pusimos de diazepam, tumbas a 10. ¿Cómo? Lo que le pusimos de diazepam, tumbas a 10. No mames.
Making the rounds like wildfire in schools across the country. The game is called Charlie Charlie. It's played with two pencils placed across each other on a piece of paper on which yes and no words are written. The spirit of Charlie is then called up and asked questions, and Charlie responds by moving the pencils.
You guys remember when Ouija boards were the big thing?
Charlie, Charlie, are you here?
You're so stupid. It's not real.
Real, bro.
How's it real?
Charlie, Charlie, come and play with me.
Charlie, Charlie, go and
Det rör sig lite, pyttelite där.
Charlie, Charlie, are you here?
Turn your lights off, maybe? I don't know.
Charlie, Charlie, do you want to play?
Charlie, are you here? Charlie, Charlie.
Charlie, Charlie, are you there? 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 Charlie, Charlie. やばいって動いた
Charlie, Charlie, podemos jugar contigo.
Oye, Charlie, Charlie.
Charlie, podemos jugar contigo.
Hey.
Charlie. ¿De qué color son los pasteles rosados? Charlie, Charlie, ¿es verdad que eres gay? Ay, ay, ay,
Tras la conmoción vivida en el centro de salud,
22 schoolgirls, aged between 12 and 15, suffered mass demonic possession after playing a game of Charlie Charlie.
sentirse impotente porque ya son 4 los ataques que su hija ha presentado después de ese.
The traumatic incident happened in the Choco region of Colombia. The children were screaming, writhing and hallucinating, and some were even foaming at the mouth. One victim claimed she could see a man dressed in black while possessed.
Situação, né? Opa. Eu falei assalto, né, mano? Tá deitado no meio da pista.
Viu? Você via ali, eu parei lá, não dava pra pular.
É, eu vi, eu falei, ainda meu, tava parando ali, ainda pensei que era outra ali. Pensei que era assalto também. Tá deitado
Tava deitado.
Tô dormindo.
Ai, que maluco, velho. Olha que tive parado aqui,
Cansou. Ele parou, eu falei, se for assalto, a gente já...
Por que eu Porque eu tenho você. Porque você.